Hey y'all, welcome to Cornbread and Roses. I'm your friendly neighborhood organizer, Austin, and I'm here tonight with Red Mike,
Hello, comrades.
aka J J Money. So yeah, um, we've got our memes and media to start with, some socialist history and conspiracy of the week, and then I'll and as a reminder, we're one of the only socialist podcasts in Alabama and the most unprofessional podcast in the land, maybe the known universe. So
But you
make
have so
sure
few
I
options.
lead with that. Yeah.
It's either us or nothing.
Yeah. But we're here. We're gonna be focusing in on Alabama like we do on this show, and talking about No Kings and Tommy Tuberville and maybe some election stuff and our water being poisoned and the healthcare and mental health for kids and starving kids and all that good stuff that you find in Alabama on a daily basis. So yeah. Yo, did you get to go to any No King stuff yesterday?
I didn't. I had plans with my mother yesterday, so unfortunately I couldn't make it to any of them.
Well,
Um,
mom
Saturday's a
is
little
more
bit tough for me.
important.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Saturday's a little bit tough for me just because I have to be around for my mom.
that's good. Everybody should be following your lead.
Well,
But
if
yeah,
everybody
let's
followed my lead, there wouldn't be anybody at the protests.
well, no, we just have to schedule them a different day. That's all. Oh my God, what is going on with? See, now I can't get. Well, okay, there, got it working. Okay, sorry for the technical difficulty, folks. But oops. But yeah, let's check this out. Let's start it off with a little fun, and yeah, we got our our Antifa leader. Fuck you! I won't do what you tell me. That's right. And, uh, love it. Very cute. I wonder if this is selling on Etsy.
I bet that it is.
Now things are getting to biblical proportions in Portland. The proof. Exodus 8, chapter 8, uh, was it verses 2 through 8? But if you refuse to let them go, I will plague your whole country with frogs. The frogs shall come up on you and your people and all your officials. Let's go. Yeah. If you're looking for a costume, we've got the violent Antifa terrorist costume available. It includes a inflatable frog suit, a cape, pepper spray filter, a thirst for the blood of the innocent, and an air pump. Yeah, batteries and Molotov cocktails not included. We saw a plethora of inflatables. We'll talk about that later. But as fall is here, ice is detaining leaves as they turn brown. Yeah,
Wow, that sounds about right.
yeah, yeah. This one, courtesy of you, you can be yourself around me. Are you sure? Yeah, are you absolutely sure? As he's got the can of soup and the anarchy symbol, and is that Ancom Antifa? Like the I can't remember the top on bottom, bottom on top.
I can't remember
Um,
that either. I didn't know it made a difference.
Apparently it does.
Wow.
But
Well, there's a million
yeah,
flags, so I can't keep track of them all.
yeah. Uh, Folks out there, your pawpaw didn't run shine through these hollers for you to be a bootlicker. That's right. Oh, folks, nobody's coming to save us. We can all save each other with direct action, mutual aid, and radical solidarity. Cute little possums. And he's even got a little, he's got his bandana and his little hat. The other one's only got tears.
Yep. The crying possum.
Welcome, comrade. Whenever I be myself, I get stalked and harassed. Oh, is
Yeah,
that like,
I also have to limit how much of myself, like I have to bite my tongue. I don't know. I feel like my opinions that
understandable?
most things are generally unpopular.
Uh, I don't know. I don't know. You start start off with healthcare, and then uh grind shit down then too. Oh, pussy gato. Yo quiero, no. Yo estoy pussy gato. What do we got? We got Hegseth to the Navy. Your diversity is not your strength. The gayest tone up here says, brother, you're a straight man on a naval vessel. You're the diversity. I tend to agree on that.
There you go.
Uh,
Yeah, you were in the army though, right?
I was. Grandpa fought Japanese in World War II
Hmm.
for the Navy. He his boat was, if not the in the most combat for any ship out there, it was damn close. I think the USS Salt Lake City. I think they had a record as being in the most combat of any ship uh, during World War II. And he was a gunner's mate.
Wow.
We got this here. No, we got Trump sitting there. No books, no friends, no music, no curiosity, no patience, no integrity, no compassion, no empathy, no loyalty, no conscience, no courage, no manners, no respect, no character, no morality, no honor, and not even a dog. Yeah, a he's a perfect symptom of capitalism, in my opinion. He just so perfectly encompasses capitalism as a creature.
Trump is America's id made flesh.
Yes, yes, preach. Uh, Pepe, go, my children, and save our people's legacy. We will. Uh, like I said, saw a lot of frogs. No, yeah, no principles, morals, or ethic of any kind.
No, it's just
No,
pure selfishness. Whatever happens to suit him in the moment.
yeah,
It's
he don't even
uncanny.
care. He don't even care about his kids. Uh, got this dude. I should be at home smoking weed and cleaning my apartment, but these fucking Nazis are ruining my goddamn weekend. Goddamn Nazis. It's he ain't the only one. He ain't the only one. Yeah, purely transactional human being. RFK Jr. Right there, and the brain worm, goblin mask. Now say circumcisions cause autism. I can't remember the way he talked in that movie.
Oh
But
yeah,
yeah.
a long time ago.
Hey, you know what they call a fascist in America? They don't call it a fascist. No, Republicans defunded the education system. They don't even know what a fuck a fascist is. What they call it? An anti-fascist.
Well,
uh, FBI has posted their 10 most wanted out there, with Vigilante Frog in the top spot. I consider myself a broccoli baddie. Um, I don't know about you. Maybe a
Yeah,
birdie bandit.
I'm leaning towards broccoli batty myself, just because I'm
Yeah,
a vegan. Although swine center has a certain appeal.
it does. I'm not Antifa. I'm pro anti. Yeah. Oh, everyone in a surveillance state. We're all cam girls. That's right. Oh, look, we got little Jade Vance holding his little Trump balloon out in Greenland. Oh yeah. Uh, Shout out to the was it the time photographer that took that. That's got to be a Pulitzer. Hey, everybody, it's great to see members of Congress get outside and take off their suits and just stretch out.
Yep.
Yeah,
I can get
yeah,
behind this one.
yeah. They are
Although
big
it feels
ass fucking
unfair to
snakes.
snakes. I love
I
snakes.
Yeah, you know, but we gotta have something to compare these motherfuckers to.
That's true.
The only solution to the trans bathroom controversy is toilet cams.
What?
And they probably I think we read a fucking article a while ago that pointed in that direction of oh yes, in kids' bathrooms in Alabama right now, the vape alert system, uh, which is supposed to, use test the air, they have microphones in them. So, as a reminder, you know, they are. Uh, oh man, Virginia Slim Jims. Oh yeah.
Oh no.
My mom smoked Virginia Slims. You know how she started smoking those?
How's
They
that?
sent they sent her a free pack of cigarettes in the fucking mail.
Wow.
Virginia Slim Light Menthol 120s. I used to run into the store and pick them up for dollar and a quarter back then. And yeah, can't do that shit nowadays for sure.
Yeah, I probably can't send them in the mail either.
Yeah, they got rid of that too. I hate having an internal monologue. Girl, just shut the fuck up. I don't care.
Yep.
I feel you. Yeah. I get tired of my internal monologue as well. A spider watching soccer when someone kicks a ball into the net. Hell yeah. Now eat it.
That's funny.
Yeah. Boss, let's put this matter aside for the time being. Me nervously looking around. Can only you see the time being? Boss, huh? Me, is it standing near me? Boss, who? Me on the verge of a panic attack. The time being. This
The
is an
time
old one
being.
too.
There you go.
Yeah, 2018.
7 years ago. Can you believe it?
And Halloween's around the corner. Here's a good way to
Oh,
get the
gross.
kids some vitamin D. We got one slurp of milk per trick or treater.
Gross.
And
Yeah, I'm not feeling that so much. Oh, and he's frozen. Oh, maybe he'll come back in just a second. Oh, I hate when this happens. Because the way we've got it broken up, the first half of the show he does all the preparation for, so he's running it, and the second half of the show I do all the preparation for, so it's the second half of the show where it's my time to shine. I'm never sure what to do. You'd think we'd figure it out by now after all the times that he's frozen. What exactly I'm supposed to do when this happens? Ah, no, no bueno. Okay, well, so I guess we'll finish up the memes and the social history and the conspiracy theory of the day if and when he comes back. And failing that, we can get right into it. So Austin was able to go to the No Kings protest yesterday. So there apparently were thousands here in Huntsville. The local news interviewed my friend Vera. That's really cool. So they lined Governor's Drive between Whitesburg and Harvard Road. It was put on by AL 5051 and Invisible, the District 5 here in Alabama. Oh, they got Amy too. Oh, they're interviewing everybody in this article. So my friend Amy Price, a spokesperson for the two groups, said the choice of the location, and here I'm reading from AL.com, said the choice of the location to gather for the demonstration was deliberate. There are many medical establishments there. We're standing up for science research, and we know how important that it is in Huntsville, and it's the funding that keeps this part of the country going. It's so important to our region, but that funding keeps people at this hospital healthy. So I was really hoping to talk to Austin since he was there to get the sort of the man on the street appeal. I know DSA was there, so we were there recruiting people and participating as we do. Apparently there were lots of people wearing animal costumes and Revolutionary War attire. So there's that. So Sheila McNeil, chair of the Madison County Democrats, said such protests can spur change. Today is important because we're at a critical time in history where all of our rights are being challenged and attacked. And we've got to stand up and show that the power is with the people. And the only way for them to see is for us to be out here on the street. So I hope that everybody got a chance to go. We were going to have an organizer on, but I guess she couldn't make it. So I had questions like what all it takes to plan something like this, and there was significant planning that went into it. So a lot of behind the scenes work in order to make this happen. And yeah, as far as I know, everything went off without a hitch. There weren't any problems that I'm aware of. So, and I don't think anybody got arrested in Huntsville. So, good job to all the organizers there. I have to say, I'm a little bit cynical when it comes to protesting and what I call standing around holding up a sign. And I asked some people who participated what they thought about it, just to sort of set me straight a little bit. Like, hey, I'm seeing people standing around holding up a sign. We did this for the Iraq War, and they had the Iraq War like we weren't even there. So, what is it that we're accomplishing here? And they talked about the importance of hope and catharsis and forming connections with people to know that you're not alone. And the more I think about that, the more I realize that it's true. Like I made a lot of really tight comrades participating in protests, and we formed a little network of what I called the usual suspects, of people who could be counted on to show up at protests. And we made other plans together, and it led to further organizing down the road. And someone else made a good point about, you want to see people doing things that are a little more disruptive, like striking, taking strike action, and things like that. But for the average person, participating in political action at all is stepping outside of their comfort zone just a little bit. and that's a muscle that you have to stretch. And so a lot of people who participated in the 5051 and Indivisible District 5 protest, or protest generally, are people who never participated in a protest before. And so it was a way for them to get their feet wet and sort of like, get outside of their comfort zone a little bit. So some of the people I spoke to really kind of changed my mind a little bit when it comes to the utility of these protests. And we have Austin back. So I didn't know what to do, so I started talking about.
I am.
So I started talking about the No Kings protests, and I read an article a little bit about the one in Huntsville, and you want to talk about a little bit, what do you want to do? Do you want to talk about your experiences in the Huntsville No Kings protest, or do you want to finish up the memes and?
Memes are done. We can just maybe finish off with this week in socialist history and conspiracy of the week, and just get into the news. Let me see here. My experience was I got a neighbor and family member out there with me. I it was spectacular. There was Anti-Tifa. There was um, uh, Donald Trump in a dumpster. So many great costumes. At least one frog. There were like four Garfields. Uh, so many dinosaurs, unicorns, and then just other people. There's what dude riding up and down the street on the sidewalk with. He had a amplifier on the back with a mic and was just letting people grab the mic and talk. Um, the organizers did an amazing job. One of them was supposed to be here tonight, but I think uh, we're gonna have her on next week. Um, but they did an outstanding job. There people were going around giving out water. Security was out there. The marshals, medics were available. And it ran, uh, several blocks down one side of Governor's, which is like where the medical district is here in Huntsville, and then across the street, and you go back up, and there's folks all up the other side of the street too. So many people driving by honking horns. Another neighbor, like, he couldn't ride out with us to the thing, but he drove down and just drove up and down the street honking his horn. He honked his horn so much the horn quit on him.
Oh,
uh yeah. Yeah, there used to be a saying on the far left, "Don't criticize each other's tactics." Yeah.
yeah, and I'm trying not to do that. And I went on Discord earlier today and asked a bunch of activists what they thought the protests accomplished, so that I would have something to talk about besides my natural instinct, which is to be like, meh. So I didn't want to come in here and crap on the hard work that was done. So I was hoping people could change my mind, and they kind of did. So I think that. So just read a piece today, says Chris L., whose conclusion was, when shit hits the fan, it may be better to be someone people can trust rather than somebody who does something. Yeah, I think there's something to that. That's interesting. But yeah, so I didn't want to come on, like, I know so many people put so much work into this, including Austin, weren't you working as a marshal?
I was not able to volunteer as an organizer for the event this week, because it's football season and the kids band competition. And by the way, the kids got fan favorite from the crowd at their competition that they had yesterday.
That's cool.
I had a full day. Had the protest in the morning. Getting the kids off to the meeting point for the band departing, and then No Kings, and then we had a 2.5 hour drive, and then the competition, and then drove back. So it was a full day, to say the least, yesterday, which it was really the type of it was honestly the type of day that really makes life worth living, if you know what I'm saying. Like, it was just a beautifully full day of life, you know.
So would you say you got a lot of good energy out of the protests? Like, did it
Absolutely.
revitalize
It
you? You felt a lot of hope?
it is so energizing, and, yes, it is just mobilization, but it shows the untapped potential of the working class, and it was a bigger protest than the last one, which was one of the biggest in the history of the United States, which we also had another biggest in the history of the United States, and this one was even bigger. Um, like New York was expecting something like uh 150, 200,000 people, 350,000 people showed up in New York.
Wow.
The mayor of Chicago, Brandon Johnson, he came out and called for a general strike. And that is what we need to do, is move beyond the mobilization into organizing. And there was uh, one other representative, I think McGovern, like out on the East Coast. He's the only one I've heard in the last several months who said anything about strike actions. And yeah,
So I wish I had gotten to go so I could have experienced what it was like for myself. But like I said, on weekends, my mom has MS, and my stepfather works on the weekends, and somebody needs to be around in case something happens to her. So she's getting to where she needs some assistance. So I have to kind of hang around on the weekends for my mom. Or else I would have probably popped by just to see what the fuss was all about. And show solidarity in my own way.
yeah, I got some pictures over here. Yeah, well, yo, you gotta, hey, family, you got to take care of family first, self first, family first, to be able to actualize yourself into the other stuff. And so, hey, don't sweat it, dog. That's another thing that I think people should think about. I'm not sure exactly what the ratio is, but and I'm sure there might be a study out there or what have you, but every person that's out there represents many more people. For instance, the workers in garbage trucks and working trucks that were driving by honking their horns. You know what I mean? They're out there
Absolutely.
on the they're out there on the job that day, and they couldn't be there. Maybe they drove by on purpose, maybe they drove by randomly, but every person out there represents a multitude of other people. And, you know, we're still just getting going. Like, uh, I think that the the true face of capitalism has shown itself with this administration, and that has really just itself educated people, you know what I mean, in its own right, without having to read some big fucking book.
Right.
But there were 2,600 protests throughout the country, and there were protests overseas as well. It's right here at Oxford. This is and hey, County Democratic Committee, cool. Um, like, we have to have a coalition to defeat fascism. There's
Absolutely.
been in Germany, uh, they didn't form a coalition to defeat fascism, and some of the liberals, like sold folks out, but there was also, some folks not wanting to work together and shit like that. And that's not an option. It's not an option in the face of fascism. Um, and and another thing, okay, is the Democrats in Alabama. Not the greatest track record, all right, but apart from all these elected officials in federal office and stuff like that, a lot of them Zionists and shit like that. When you look at their voting base, you know, uh, a huge majority of those folks, of the voters, aren't Zionists, and a huge majority of those folks want universal health care and et cetera, et cetera. So there's a disconnect, you know. I'm sure like a lot of these like city Democrats, county Democrats, state level Democrats have a much different opinion on things compared to at the federal level, you know. Uh, but they need to do what the voters want, bring up working class policies if they care to win elections and do the right thing by the people here and abroad, you know. But I think it's fantastic. There is also protests overseas. I was thinking to myself the other day, there are literally billions of people. Uh, Smart Germans got the F out before 38. Yeah. Uh, and yes, the big books are important as well, but you ain't got to read them to be for working class folks. Um, yeah, smart and wealthy. Uh, yeah, and but Gunnersville, 400 people showed up. I mean, just all over the state. Uh, we're seeing places that haven't been protesting starting to protest as well, and that's where it's incumbent upon organizers in the state to connect with these folks and to press them to take the next steps. Says as many as 3,000 people. I heard 4,000 people in Huntsville, and I would say it. You know, uh, I normally try to do a count. My crappy crowd estimate skills, and I didn't get to do that this time. But I'm feeling like it was more like 4,000 people. Uh, you know, uh, and yeah, the great swindle the right played was convincing us they were genuinely popular. Yeah, yeah. Only 30% of voters voted for Trump, and he didn't even get 50% in the election. So the loud minority. I don't know what cute little name to call their asses, but they are a
Loud
minority.
minority.
You know, the the jackass minority. But so many people in the crowd is getting more diverse as well. Um, I saw a lot of veterans, a whole lot of veterans. I saw more black folks and Hispanic folks, uh, and check out that dude. uh, so the crowds and are getting more diverse, which is like Fred Hampton said, we need uh, a rainbow coalition, and because like there's just incredible. And like I said, a major major mayor, the Chicago mayor, called for a general strike, calling for all people, queer folks, black folks, Hispanic folks, all the working class to come together for a general strike. And that's where we need to start moving towards. And there's things that we need to establish here to make that successful, needing community support, mutual aid networks, you know, um, and the work started yesterday. And the first time it took every one from Churchill to Stalin. Yes, fascism makes for strange bedfellows. Certainly does.
So I would gently encourage the more cynical among us, including myself, to try to be a little less cynical about the value of things like this. And as You Don't Like My Music said, don't criticize other people's tactics. It may not be sufficient, but it is necessary. I think good things will come out of this. Hopefully, people will meet other people. They'll get linked up with organizations and networks of people that they trust, and that will build ground for later actions in the future.
Yeah. You know, and something we need to get better at as a chapter is like making sure we have our materials to hand out and talking points about working class policies and things like that. Um, you know, but like there was here here in Alabama there is a deep under theme for socialism with all this. Like, you know, it is being driven by folks with socialist bents because if you look at the voters want socialist policies. Like I said, 80% of Democratic voters uh, like the idea of socialism, and almost 20% of Republican voters, which is incredible if you think about it, where we were, a few years ago. Oh, yeah. Good job, dog. And yeah, nothing by itself is sufficient. We need all of it. We need defense of our communities. We need direct action. We need mutual aid. We need building unions and co ops. We need electoralism. We need all the pillars being built. And, spreading information like this, like what we're trying to do here, is all important. See, we got Meryl Hurst, a veteran who was on active duty 8 years. She was protesting because she sees as a threat to the future of the country. Um, I always love it to see veterans out. I'm a veteran, and when I see other veterans out there, it really, really warms my heart. The Democratic chair of the Madison County Dems was out there. I didn't see her, but I didn't see everybody either. But
Big
people are
crowd.
coming. Yeah, but people are coming together, and the iron is hot, and we are striking. Yeah. Our wise Marissa here, meeting people where they are at and also having a vision for where we are going. Exactly. Got to walk and chew bubble gum. You have to give grace to your working class siblings out there. Like they, everybody has baggage, especially coming into being politically activated. And there's a lot of things that have to be shed internally, that like all of the lies and stuff that you've been fed your entire life. But uh, like I keep saying, love thy neighbor, but eat the rich. Otherwise, we just recreate the systems that are harming us. No doubt, some other asshole uh, gets in power and then begins consolidating power. Not acceptable. Power is for all the people. All the power is for all the people. And, uh, yeah, fuck authoritarianism in any and all forms. We got some more pictures. Just, oh, had a preacher. We didn't do speeches. It was, we've definitely done them before, but all this symbols that were out there, the diversity of the crowd, the Palestinian flags, Mexican flags, all the other countries' flags, Ukraine flags were out there. Like it goes against the rhetoric that the past week, 2 weeks, that the Republicans have been pumping out, that this is,
It's
oh,
Doug
Doug Jones.
Jones.
Oh, look at
Yeah,
that.
Doug Jones gave a speech in Birmingham. So they quoted. So this article quotes some of his speeches. We have the greatest country in the world, he says. Which, okay, I'm not so sure about that. But and you're here today to defend it. We can't ever let that. We can't ever let that fight. We can't let that hope die inside us. He said, we cannot let that hope be put out by anybody. That's Doug Jones speaking at the No Kings protest in Birmingham, addressing a very large crowd there too.
Yeah. Uh, you know, the greatest thing about America is the people. Just like the greatest thing about other countries is the people. So rare is the working class people is, so rare is it the government or their political leaders and things like us. We are great as a people. We just need to come together and exercise our power through whatever means, especially like a general strike, and uh, take back, take maybe for the first time, really, uh, the government for ourselves. Marissa says, also, much understanding should go to the people who can't meet folks where they are. That's not everyone's work to do. Exactly. That's why the anti-racist movement among white folks is so important. Yeah, it is primary duty of white folks to be the primary people who dismantle white supremacy. You know, I ain't got time left for fatalism or nihilism. Hell no.
I
Hell
struggle
no.
with fatalism just a little bit, but in my defense, I live in Alabama, so it is a struggle
That,
that I have. I will admit it is something that I have a problem with.
that's all right. We all have our internal struggles to overcome. I get unproductive, to say the least, at times, through whatever reasons. And yeah, and see, your vulnerability is endearing, Jason.
Well, I don't
It
know if it's
is.
vulnerability per se, but
Well,
I am
no,
I am negative
being
Nancy.
no, being vulnerable in that, you saying and bringing forward your faults, but that's where your comrades can come in and fill those gaps for you. You know what I mean? Just like some people, uh, their job uh, might not be to uh, slowly help somebody along in their education and dismantling the shit inside them, other people can do that. We all have a role. And what you do here and what you've been doing, organizing folks. I mean, you're the one who, like, if I recall correctly, you're the one who spearheaded the coffee social that has now taken a life of its own, locally at Gold Sprint. Go there. What time is it?
11 o'clock.
11 o'clock at Gold Sprint Coffee on Saturdays. So you spearheaded things. So, you know,
Yeah,
and
I've started a few things, and who knows what the fruit of them are, but I feel like you can't always see what the fruit of things are. You just sort of plant seeds and see what grows. And yeah, it's nice as far as it goes.
you know,
Um, and it's kind of the idea was to be like a political salon where people could come and talk and exchange zines and figure out what they're doing and like just sort of meet people in an informal space. Because a lot of times, like, and this is something we've discussed in the past, there are a lot of interpersonal conflicts that could probably be handled if people were friendly with one another first. So no, I would say I'm not fatalistic when it comes to building community, and when it comes to there are lots of things that I think have high value, and I don't know.
hey,
I'm a burned out, cynical person generally.
we
I
we
own
all
it.
hit the we all hit the doldrums. Trust me, brother. But the only way is through. The
I
only
just
way
feel
is
like I've
through.
been banging my head against a very hard wall for a very long time.
Oh, that that is true, but the progress just in the recent years, I think we're breaking through. I really do. You're just a Cassandra about our institutions.
Yeah,
Um,
maybe.
but yeah, like our comrade said, uh, we need to bring back public political salons back, and that's exactly what you did in the style of the French. There was let's see here. There was at least one arrest in Alabama, down in Fairhope. A
I saw
woman was
that.
arrested for lewd conduct because she was dressed in a penis suit with a sign that said "No Dictator." 3 cops on a 53-year-old woman,
Well,
and
way to
this
go.
occurred. Yeah, this occurred after everything. There were reports that they'd been there for 3 hours. Everything was getting packed up. Dozens of cops had walked by her multiple times, and then they go and do this shit. So, oh
They were just looking for somebody to arrest. They couldn't tell her to go home or take it off.
well. Let's see what the lawyer, which I hope she's getting support on that.
Hope so
Maybe
too.
we'll see. Yeah, maybe we'll see a GoFundMe or something available, to be able to help her get a lawyer, because this shit shall not stand, and it is a clear violation of the First Amendment. The Supreme Court has ruled against shit like this a lot, but look at them.
Yep.
Uh,
How awful.
Dicks on a dick.
There you go.
Yeah, just in case, salons were where the public would hash out their political differences in the name of solidarity. Exactly.
There's a lot of that
Exactly.
at the coffee social. Mostly it's just like coordinating and making plans about what we're going to do. Like there aren't as many arguments as you might expect. But I think people are more cool in person than they are over the internet.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Um, I get a feeling that a lot of people that go on about comments on Yeah, it is. They go on these diatribes on the internet. Need to get out more. Need to touch a whole lot more grass. And you know, like like all these criticisms about the no king stuff. Yo, dog, like do something. If that's not good enough for you, organize, get with people, and do something else.
I
It
think
ain't,
that's a fair point.
you know, but yeah. Um, but yeah, there's some good uh on Reddit. There's a lot of uh good threads about all this that were out there. I saw one that had over 2,000 upvotes. This one's at like 467. Um, but I've actually recruited people from Reddit. Needs views though. I've actually recruited people through Reddit and through other social media. So like it's not all you know valueless in getting in the comments sometimes. Just choose wisely and don't
Right.
engage the troll. Yeah, don't engage the trolls. And
There are a
yeah.
lot of people on Reddit who sincerely hold questionable opinions.
Hmm.
And that's just what you have to deal with when you participate on Reddit.
Yeah, it's like they live in a world of pure theory or some shit. It's which, you know, I personally value praxis over theory, you know, because like all that theory is all well and good, but you ain't gonna do shit with it out without action, taking actions, you know. So so many, this is emboldening, and I guarantee you that it uh, has scared the shit out of Republicans because they didn't get nothing they wanted out of it. That they one of the biggest protests in the history of the United States. I think I read that there were about 12 arrests, most of whom appear to have been people trying to start shit, like right wingers instigating stuff.
You mean 12 arrests
Right.
nationwide?
Yeah, that's the last stat that I saw earlier.
Wow.
Yeah. So they they didn't get all this hate stuff that they wanted and violent stuff that they wanted. Everything flies in the face of their narrative, you know, because the people are tired of it. 75% of the folks compared to 60% last year are now paycheck to paycheck, and that will only get worse as the rich keep hoovering out and gutting out what systems that provided not a whole lot by comparison, especially to other countries that have like universal education and childcare and all these things that invest in people. They don't want to invest in people. They want to uh, have us effectively as debt slaves and various other forms of whatever, you know. But yeah. So let's see here. How about what else we got next on the docket?
Well, there are a few stories. Um, you
You
can
want to
start
start
wherever
with
you like.
Tubbs?
Let's
I
talk about
always
Tubbs, our next governor. Speaking of fatalism, Tommy Tuberville is going to be our next governor, and there's little to nothing that anybody can do about it. So, dropping the R slur on the Alex Jones show. So, yeah, Tommy Tuberville. Let me pull up my article here. Here we go. So, he's not the first Republican to appear on the Alex Jones show, because Marjorie Taylor Greene and Rand Paul and Trump himself have appeared on it in the past. But Jones was sharing some sort of goofy conspiracy theory. I mean, just unhinged conspiracy theory that liberals plan to kick off a race war, and the movies called Civil War and One Battle After Another were meant to inspire that.
Man,
So, and instead of saying that's the most ridiculous thing that I've ever heard, um, Jones was like, or not Jones, but the Towerville was like, you can't solve a problem unless you know the problem, and people refuse to believe what's going on because they don't see a lot of it. What kind of response? What kind of non-response is that?
he's so vacuous. Like, I don't know how he won a fucking football game.
I don't know either. Well, it wasn't him, right? It was his players. Like, I
Yeah.
mean, I figured they played a role, so I'm not really sure what a coach does exactly.
uh, they coach, you know. Uh, but yeah, I can't believe I haven't heard like his former players speak out against him
Yeah, me either.
yet.
Maybe
Maybe
they're
some of
saving
them
that for
have
the. Maybe they're saving that for the general, which would be funny.
would, but yeah, this guy's a pedophile enabler. Uh, you know, vacuous. Uh, he's he's just a trash person, um, idiot, fascist.
We've been complaining a lot about Sharia law lately, and so he attacked Sharia law on the Alex Jones show. I mean, of course, this is a person who doesn't know anything about the Islamic faith. And CARE put out a statement pointing out correctly that Sharia law is like halakha in it's like Jewish law. It's not the scary boogeyman that you think it is. It's just a set of rules that govern Islamic life. Um, just like the halakha governs Jewish life and what it means to be Jewish and what the practices you follow and things like that.
Yeah, it's the continuing conflation of uh, extremism with other things. Like unless it's Zionism, unless it's like then it's their crazy shit doesn't count. But
Right.
you know,
But only like, for the record, and not that this matters at all, really, but only like 3% of the American population is Muslim. And you have to figure that percentage is probably even less in a state like Alabama. So this attempt to drum them up as the boogeyman is just not. It's just like it just flies in the face of the facts. Well, I mean, I guess like all bigotry does.
oddly enough, like I think the Jewish population is something like 2 to 3% of America, and yet I'll tell you how, and yet so many folks, so many senators and Congress folks are Zionists.
Yeah.
So that's a weird statistical anomaly. Maybe it's because we give Israel a whole lot of fucking money every year, and then they use that money to buy our politicians. Maybe that's what's happening.
Maybe so. But speaking of which, in recent years, Alex Jones has often used the phrase Jewish mafia to describe how some of the Jewish individuals he frequently attacks in his show, like Rahm Emanuel and George Soros. They run Uber, they run the healthcare, they're gonna scam you. Oh, I can't even read this. Come on. So what an absurd claim. Like Nick Fuentes, the neo-Nazi is a frequent guest on the Alex Jones show. And so So you can bet that anti-Semitism is part and parcel of his shtick, to use a Yiddish word.
Mm. And this is a long ass article about um all this stuff, you know.
So yeah, Tommy Tuberville drumming up hatred of Muslims, claiming that the Biden administration was trying to build an army of undocumented immigrants, and called Democratic politicians the R slur on the
Yeah,
Alex Jones show. That's what he's doing with his time, is going on the Alex Jones show and spouting off
yeah,
and
and
basically agreeing with this insane claim that people are trying to start race wars. And
yeah, and have you heard of Knowledge Fight?
I feel like I've heard of it. I feel like y'all have
So,
mentioned it to me in the past.
so it's like the inverse of Infowars. They focus a lot on Alex Jones, but from Dan Friesen. Alex Jones believes that God gave him prophetic visions as a child to prepare him for his destiny of fighting against the literal devil, which he believes he is currently doing. His show consists of him making things up, misinterpreting primary sources, yelling about tweets, and pretending that things he read in sci fi novels as a child are real, in service of creating an illusion of political conspiracy to mask what he's really promoting, which is white nationalism and Christian identity.
Wow.
Yeah. And Mallory Jaspers, that's a name, boy. Tuberville's communications director did not answer any of the detailed questions about the senator's appearance on the Alex Jones show. Instead, in an email replied, she called Alabama political reporter's request for comment one of the most ridiculous inquiries I've ever received. So yeah, he's just he's another you know like like a another little version of Trump. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You know, he don't care about nobody. He's he's complained about folks bringing up stopping the stock trading. And I looked into his his jobs. He's always had a government job, either in the Senate or for Auburn or before that in high school. So he's always had a government job. And
Wow.
somehow and now he's worth tens of millions of dollars. So talk about somebody who doesn't pull themselves up by their bootstraps. He certainly did that. He just sucked on taxpayer money his whole life. And yeah.
So that's the latest from Tuberville. I thought it was worth mentioning that he's going on the Alex Jones show and spouting crazy conspiracies and saying absurd things and hateful things.
Yeah. And has he done any, what do they call them? Town halls?
I don't
Will
think
he
so.
will he face the people,
I
or
doubt that he would ever do something like that.
he's
Like,
all of these fuckers are cowards, all of them. Dale Strong don't meet the public. All of these motherfuckers are fucking cowards because they know they wrong. They don't care that they wrong. They just full of shit, and they sit there and spout their bullshit. And guess what, folks? It's not working anymore. Yeah, he might make uh the governorship. He might make it this time, but this shit is coming to an end. It is coming to an end because they couldn't be happy with just being rich and letting things get a little bit better bit by bit. No, they want to take it all. They want to take it all. And guess what? We outnumber them. There ain't there ain't enough of them. There's more of us. And hey, from a military perspective, uh, when you're outnumbered, you're not gonna win. You're not gonna win. But another person in office for Alabama, Terry Sewell, she advocates for the Voting Rights Act as Supreme Court decision could threaten Alabama's Democratic seats. We touched a little bit on Section 2, I think this past week or the week before, but she brought a delegation of folks to D.C. from Alabama. Yeah.
Yes. So there are two districts in Alabama on the congressional level, one of which was recently drawn for Shamari Figures. Not for him, but he wound up winning it. And so they're majority black districts, and if the Supreme Court guts the Voting Rights Act as they're expected to do, those districts could disappear immediately. And so you're talking about two congressional seats and the only black representation in Alabama at the statewide level. Well, not even at the statewide level, but the only black representation in Alabama, like being taken away. So
Yeah, and it's uh, supported by Steve Marshall,
of course,
and this is brought by this is all coming from it's brought by non-black voters in Louisiana. The plaintiffs argue that deliberately using race to redraw majority-minority districts goes against the 14th Amendment's equal protection clause, sometimes referred to as one man, one vote. Yeah, and their argument goes against it's a circular, illogical argument, but once again, fascists don't care about that.
no, it's part of the draw for them is that they don't have to make sense because they have power on their side. Like,
Yeah.
and being able to club you with nonsense is part of the draw. It's part of the what is the word I'm looking for?
The grift.
It's part of the grift, but it's part of the appeal to them.
Yeah.
It's about being able to bully people and say we don't have to make sense. We can just force you to do what we want.
Yeah. Power hungry fools.
So the decision is not expected until June. So we've got some months of reprieve, but the conservatives will prioritize this, and they'll take away the districts probably before the midterms even. And they're saying that 19 seats will be lost, including 2 here in Alabama.
Yeah. Well, we shall see. This does not bode well. I'm curious as how to apply pressure to the Supreme Court, because it already seems like it's in the bag. You know what I mean?
Right. Like they don't have to care about public opinion, and they don't, clearly. And this Supreme Court is a partisan affair where you can predict what they're going to do based on what's good for the Republican Party. So,
Right.
but most observers have concluded that this is basically going to happen. So that's 2 black congressmen in Alabama, 17 others across the nation, which is enough in this era of like really tight congressional power lines, like is enough to make to create a Republican majority. I mean, it's possible we could lose the House for a generation or more.
Well, I do think there is one solution. Is getting out the vote. Uh, like I said, Republicans are generally outnumbered, and there's a lot of apathy in voters, understandably so. But I think that is at least one angle that should be taken. Is if I was in charge of the DNC right now, I would be pushing hard to spend monies to get folks registered and out to the polls, even starting now, because it's a very heavy lift, but they need to back that shit up with working class policies, you know?
Right.
Um,
Things that excite people. And like in Alabama, the problem is there's nobody to vote for. So you could have 100% voter turnout and it wouldn't do you any good because there are no Democrats on the ballot to vote for. So like it has to begin with candidate recruitment and drawing up a platform that excites people and getting some candidates to say, yes, we'll run for this platform, whatever it takes. And actually getting people on the ballot for them to vote for, and then only then focusing on getting people registered to vote and encouraging them to participate in electoralism.
yeah. Well, I can say for Alabama, we are working on working class policies uh, for Alabamians, and I'm involved with that. And we've got several members in our chapter, 4 that are running for office. I need to put the rest of folks, man, you need to remind me to put the rest of folks' info. A couple of them are still gathering signatures. But Amanda Pushek, I need to put her stuff down there. She's running for Congressional District 4. We've got, I don't know if I want to announce the other ones. I don't know if they've officially announced, you know what I mean? But
Yeah.
we got Robert Hunter down there, um, out in House District 28 against Mac Butler. You can look in the description and volunteer or donate to his campaign. But we are uh, working on working class policy platform based off the Workers Deserve More, uh, put out by DSA National, translating that into things that can change here in Alabama. So keep an eye out for that. And that's going to be, hey, we're going to be pushing that info out to Democratic candidates, independent candidates, whoever. And there is a push in the Democratic Party here in Alabama for getting folks running. So we'll see how successful that is. Uh, but it is happening. Wish it had happened a long time ago, but the geriatric uh, folks in power in the state of the party were just, I guess, happy with the way things are
Well,
and
the
didn't
state
care to
party's a
improve
mess
things.
of infighting and all kinds
Yeah.
of awful things. Like, so there are people who have been in power for far too long who feel like the Democratic Party is theirs by birthright, and they've run it into the ground, and they are absolutely opposed to doing anything differently.
Yeah. I wonder how rich those folks are. You know
I
what I'm
don't
saying?
know. How much money does Joe Reed have?
Yeah.
And
But
it's sad because he has a legitimate claim as being a
he
he
fought in
was
the civil rights movement
yeah,
legitimately.
he was a civil rights hero, exactly. And to see him run the Democratic Party like it was his own personal club has been very
Yeah.
sad.
They say, there's a couple sayings about power, right? Power reveals character. Power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. So, which is one reason why you don't have power consolidate into people for any length of time. You do your service as a public servant and you move the fuck on.
I can't find any
Turn.
I can't find any information about how much money he has.
Well, we got some other stuff to talk about. You want to talk about the water?
Sure. Which one? There are two water stories.
Well, let's. I guess we'll start up here with the Keep Flint River Clean. Alabama residents fighting back over proposed wastewater treatment plant.
So give me just a second. My cat is doing stuff.
So, with rapid growth in Huntsville and Madison County, growing pains are inevitable. This Alabama series looks at the challenges and opportunities facing Huntsville. So, they had at Buckhorn High School cafeteria. It was not packed with its usual crowd of hungry students on Tuesday. Instead, local advocates filled the seats to learn more about a wastewater treatment plant proposed for a popular creek in Madison County. Got some signs here. But the New Market residents are concerned about the plant near Winchester, close to the Flint River, and basically poison in the water.
With wastewater, with processed wastewater. So they're talking about dumping sewage into the river system, which is understandably upset the people who live there, who swim and fish in the water.
The crowd cheered Rowan Stafford and other supporters while booing the first speaker, Integra Water CEO John McDonald.
He got to go first, huh?
About 50 people were there. And the corporation's leaders want to build another facility in the greater Huntsville metro area. And it filed a permit with the Alabama ADM, Alabama Department of Environmental Management.
Yeah. And it's worth pointing out that and I'm quoting from an AL.com article now, under the current state laws, property owners can build anything on their land in an unincorporated area. That means a wastewater treatment plant or landfill can be built right next door to a family home. So that's the law in Alabama. If it's unincorporated, you can build whatever you want. And so they're advocating to see a change on the state level to allow zoning restrictions for unincorporated land.
Yeah. I'm curious, like, what technology is being used, right? Like, I have a feeling that there's better ways to do this altogether. There's better ways to address whatever issues that are that occur with population growth and stuff like that.
Right. And Integra, it's worth pointing out, has a bad track record. So in 2021, Integra Water was fined $100,000 for polluting the public drinking water in Mobile with sewage. There is a plant in Meridianville that is an Integra plant. People who live near it report a strong sewage smell and loud, shrill noises coming from the plant several times a day.
Oh, they kill people there. I guess that's what that sounds like.
So apparently there's constant noise. It's not a modernized plant. All pollutants are at a significant non-compliance level near the Meridianville facility, according to the EPA. The agency reports that nitrogen ammonia is extremely high, while E. coli and solids are violating the environmental standards. So these chemicals can be toxic to wildlife and people and can lead to burns, nausea, and more. High levels can be life-threatening. So apparently the Meridianville plant has some problems, not just with noise, but with pollution and solids, solids and sewage getting into the water system.
Well, it's a private company, right? Or maybe it's publicly funded or publicly traded company, but it's not a. It's their mandate has fuck all to do with the good as a public good, right?
So I don't know about publicly traded. I can't find any information about that, but they do seem to be a private company.
Joy indeed. Hey, Uncle Warren, good to see you. I had fun hanging out last night. You can check out Extra Bulla. They got a show, a secret show, a lot of fun, and then they do a lot of good news stuff too. A good way to keep up to date. But it's good to have you. Yeah, well, this seems like a stupid way to do things.
So I think that the residents' concerns are well founded, given Integra's track record in other municipalities, and a private company with no regulations, like they're going to do whatever they want in order to save a buck, and that's going to come at the expense of people and wildlife.
Yeah. They include a little non sequitur in here about some folks shooting on their land out there.
I saw that too, but it's not clear what that was all about. Whoa. Excuse me, I'm sorry. I had an ad pop up while I was reading an article.
Hey, solidarity.
Good night, Quinn.
And love you too. And yeah, 13 other facilities on the river already. So,
so that's something to pay attention to here in Madison County. I'm looking at getting the Green Party involved in that in some way. I don't know what we can do to support the residents, but we'll figure out something. Not as a means of growing the Green Party or recruiting people, but just because it's the right thing to do.
It also seems like we concentrate heavily on the Huntsville City Council. That's a lot of the base of our group is concentrated in that area, but like this looks like a fight to take against the county and city. I mean, the county and state.
Right.
So we must multiply. So yeah, but
so I'm at least going to write a letter to my Congress critter about changing the zoning laws in unincorporated areas to prevent this from happening. And we'll see. My state Congress critter is House Majority Leader Scott Stothagen, and you may as well be talking to a brick wall, but I still dutifully write to him.
It's imperative that and that folks that can't get out of the house a lot, this is a thing you can do consistently. Like a good site is fivecalls.org. They do excellent work, I think, and a valuable tool and a good way, a seamless way to communicate, near seamless way to communicate to elected officials, and they do a good job of explaining issues and why they're important. But relatedly over here, this Alabama river, beloved by kayakers and swimmers, is being poisoned with toxic metals, a lawsuit claims. This is Freshwater Land Trust preserves this peninsula where the Mulberry Fork and the Locust Fork of the Black Warrior River connect in the Black Warrior River Basin. The Black Warrior Riverkeepers filed a federal lawsuit on Thursday, October 16th, against PB Services LLC for violating the Clean Water Act at Bessie Mine and Locust Fork Red Rock in Jefferson County. Jefferson County has had, a ton of pollution issues, especially in predominantly black neighborhoods and areas. The lawsuit alleges violations of the permit holder's limits on the discharge of cadmium, manganese, selenium, thallium, total suspended solids, and toxicity. Yeah. Well, shit should be zero. And I guarantee you, if people were so motivated, we could science our way out of some of these things. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It alleges the discharge and pollution without a permit since they failed to renew their permit for more than 2 years and has not done a sampling of its pollution discharges. Locust Fork is home to a wide array of aquatic species and is frequented by many kayaking, canoeing, swimming, fishing, boating, and enjoying nature. The Black Warrior Riverkeeper notes suit. Locust Fork Red Rock is selling waste red rock from the former Bessie coal mine and foundry waste from U.S. Pipe, both of which are loaded with heavy metals. Nelson Brooks, staff riverkeeper at Black Warrior Riverkeeper. Wastewater discharge from outfall DSN 001 is into unnamed tributary of the Locust Fork since 2020, has consistently violated the Clean Water Act permit limitations from multiple heavy metals, including cadmium and selenium. Our goal is to encourage PB services toward permit compliance so they will properly treat their wastewater and stop polluting the Locust Fork. And you see, rich people don't have to deal with this. Rich people will just take a trip somewhere where the water's nice, or maybe buy a whole lot of land somewhere where with water running through it, they ain't got to deal with us common folk and all that. You know, they can afford bottled water after, all whatever, their own personal filtration systems, like heavy duty ones. Like this is, but for us, it is a problem because our public areas is all we got. That's if you can get off work to make it there.
But they're treating our rivers like sewers, like where they can just dump whatever they want into them. Because why? They create 50 jobs, so we have to destroy the ecosystem for all people for all time. I mean, these metals don't go away. Like
No.
they linger in the environment.
Now we need a, is it the CCA or CAA? Back in the 30s, but for environmental cleanup, And,
So yeah.
and speaking of health, Alabama ranks last in youth mental health access as schools address a crisis. The Alabama's youth mental health care system is facing a crisis. New data shows we rank dead last. A study by VocoVision examined data from federal agencies in all 50 states. And for people like Susie Kingery with SpectraCare, the study is alarming as more kids struggle with mental health every day. The study finds that 58% of Alabama youth dealt with a depressive episode last year and did not receive mental health services. Fuck them kids.
Yeah, that seems to be the attitude. So yeah, Spectra Care is among those taking a proactive approach to this matter. So I'm not sure what Spectra Care is. Let's see. It doesn't say. But the organization has partnered with local school systems such as Dothan City Schools to address students' mental health needs. So at least somebody's trying to do something about it. But yeah, that's kind of a sad situation. Like I would have benefited from this. I started displaying psychotic symptoms when I was in high school, and my mom had to pay an arm and a leg for me to access medical care, and it would have been nice to have been able to access something more robust for a better price. So the article notes that in Dale County, school resource officers are cross-trained in mental health as an added layer of coverage. I don't know how I feel about that. Like school resource officers are basically police officers, and we know the track record that police officers have with dealing with mental health issues.
Yeah, so many things related to like quote unquote crime issues, what have you, uh, could be fundamentally dealt with services like universal health care, education, job, a wage that's worth it, you know. But
Yeah.
but they they constantly want to, I don't know, somehow focus on symptoms instead of the disease, you know.
Right. So yet another study in which Alabama comes in dead last or near the last. Access to health care for children and for youth.
Yeah. And they're if I recall correctly, they're cutting even more counselors and whatnot in schools, if I remember from earlier this year.
That would not
So
surprise me.
expect this to get worse. And relatedly, the food assistance for 112,000 Alabama women and babies, the shutdown's most important casualty, health officer says. The state health officer, Dr. Scott Harris, said Thursday there is no clear path to sustain a program that helps feed about 112,000 women and small children in Alabama, and that is in limbo because of the political standoff in Washington.
So this is on
Yeah.
track. The longest shutdown on record was I think 35 days. I think that is right. That's the number that I seem to
Yes.
remember.
Yeah.
And
It's
so we're on track.
Trump's last term. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think we're on track to replicate that, if not more. But they're saying that they have enough to cover October. But if the shutdown lasts longer than October, then the WIC program in Alabama is basically kaput. And you have 112,000 women and children who will not be able to afford food. So I don't, I'm not necessarily calling on the Democrats to fold and vote for whatever. Um, but this is a huge problem that needs to be addressed through some means, through some mechanism.
Yeah.
WIC,
Mutual aid
yeah.
is what can stand in the food banks temporarily, but like these are just bare minimum band-aids, and there is not currently a mutual aid network in Alabama capable of fulfilling this solving or mitigating this situation.
So yeah, WIC, if you don't know, is a supplemental nutritional program for pregnant women, breastfeeding women, women who had a baby in the last 6 months, infants, and children under 5 years old. So, and it's specifically for the poorest of the poor. you have to have a gross income of less than 185% of the federal poverty limit. So for a single mother with one infant, that would be $39,128.
Oh. We wouldn't need as much mutual aid if we had real equality. That's right.
Right.
You know, but and with this, as prices on food continue to rise, I
Right.
saw this week, and kids ain't maybe the kids and babies ain't drinking coffee, but coffee is increased 22% for its cost.
Wow.
Oh, yeah. Oh goodness.
So that's an unfortunate side effect of the shutdown. That's a story I'm watching very closely. And again, going to write to my Congress critter and ask them to. In this case, I guess it would be Dale Strong instead of the state legislature, and say, "Hey, pass. Make the compromise you have to make and get the government up and running again, so that women and children don't go hungry."
Well, and the senators, they, because if I understand correctly, the bill is sitting in the Senate right now. Although maybe you can convince Katie Britt. I doubt it, but you definitely can't convince Tuberville.
Yeah, I mean, I still think it's worthwhile to contact them and let them.
Yes.
And I struggle to articulate why, but
Well, for one thing, it's good to speak up. Just pure and simple. It's good to exercise your voice. It gets you practice. It gets you used to confronting power. And it's a muscle that you should be reflexively using, almost like calling out the bullshit automatically and being as loud as you can about it. You know,
yeah,
because even if we had a good senator in place, uh, they're gonna have to be called out continually. Um, because we got to keep them between the lines. And make sure that uh, they listen to us and not to lobbyists and whoever the fuck else.
they do pay attention to who writes them on what topics, and if enough people write them on a certain topic, it may not change their mind, but it may motivate them to lean in your direction even a little bit, and at least they'll take the issue seriously if they're hearing about it from a lot of different people.
Yep, exactly. Strength in numbers. And related to food, this fact right here from our Canadian comrade. Fact is, American farmers have been receiving massive public subsidies for decades.
Oh
A
yeah,
lot of them do, especially corporations. You'll find that less so with small farmers and stuff, but there's also things like they receive subsidies for to keep land natural as well and to not farm it uh, and things like that. But related to food and the ice situation, they keep us in business. Alabama farmers praise guest worker wage decrease.
so they reduce the hourly wage that they're allowed to pay, or that they're required to pay H2A workers by $6, from $16 to 10. And these farmers who happily vote for MAGA are out here celebrating it. So there's basically like there's a category of people that they're allowed to exploit,
I mean,
and they're
$16. That's some rough ass work for $16, and just barely above like a wage that can afford you a place and whatnot. But goddamn, $10.
Yeah, $10 from 1608 to $10.05.
Oh, yeah,
And interviews all these farmers who were so happy about being able to exploit H2A workers that they go out and vote against,
yeah.
So nice bit of hypocrisy from Alabama's farmers.
They keep us in business. Let's fuck them. Yeah. And monoculture farming depletes the land of all its nutrients really fast. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Permaculture is the way to go. Indigenous folks here figured it out a long time ago. And even like, I mean, the more I hear about like old farming techniques in the Americas, the more amazed I am at it. They did all kinds of cool things. So yeah,
So without immigrants, our food system would collapse. You wouldn't be able to eat. We're dependent on them in order to have cheap food, and the reason we're able to have cheap food is that we're allowed to exploit them and terrorize their families with ice if they don't jump through the right hoops, or even just because.
yeah, and but even now the food ain't cheap,
Right.
uh, and it's only going up. How you feel about eating soybeans every day?
Yeah. I'm a big tofu eater, so I could probably eat tofu every day and be all right.
Hey, tofu is, I think, a little underrated. It's you know, you can cook it up a lot of different ways.
Absolutely. It's very versatile. And you can make it taste like anything you want, just about. It's like a little
Conrad says,
sponge flavor.
yeah, food shouldn't be cheap considering the value of the dollar. Mm, I think there's a lot of greedflation going on. Um,
Well, it just goes to show you that production under capitalism requires there to be an underclass of people who are not paid in order to make things work. And if everybody in every step of the stage of the way had to pay what he's saying the true costs are of products, it would be the system couldn't function at all because it would be exorbitantly expensive.
yeah,
So yeah,
valid points.
so I wanted to highlight that and just kind of point out the hypocrisy there. The people
And
who dislike immigrants enough to vote against them and vote for infinite cruelty to be heaped upon their heads, and then to turn around and be happy about being able to exploit them in their
yeah,
businesses.
yeah. Well, and uh, relatedly to slave labor, frozen jail inmate, 25 indictments, and an Alabama sheriff is still standing. Got,
So I didn't
in
really
loving
have many
memory. I
statements
was gonna
prepared
say,
for this one. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
yeah, I was gonna say in loving memory of Anthony Tony Mitchell, from 1989 to 2023, Justice for Tony. Is, he died in the Walker County Jail, uh, one of the worst in the state. And that's saying a lot. Uh, yeah, Gadsden's up there. Uh, oh yeah, there was a viewing. The United Women of Color did a viewing of the Alabama solution after the No Kings protest. So keep an eye out for screenings, or maybe do your own screening in wherever you're at.
I really wish I could have gone to that, because not only did they have the screening, but they had a panel with people who were featured in the film, with the family members of people who were featured in the film, and other family members of Alabama prisoners. And
Yeah.
that would have been, I bet that was very powerful. And I wish that I could have gone to that.
Yeah.
But
Shout out Angela Curry. She's one of the main people up there helping run United Women of Color. I've had several good conversations with her. She's awesome. Uh, she's she knows what's up, you know, and so shout out United Women of Color. Um, and you don't have to be a woman of color to join. They take allies as well. Yeah, and hell, I they probably shit. I bet you they wouldn't mind if a dude showed up to help. So y'all keep them in mind as well.
so yeah, basically the story is that Tony Mitchell suffered from mental illness. He before they called him for they called the police for a welfare check because he was in crisis at the moment. He spray painted his face and body with black spray paint and claimed to have a portal to hell. And when deputies arrived on at his home, he started firing because anybody can get a gun in America. Um, so so he was suffering from mental illness. He was placed in a cold jail cell, like a notoriously cold jail cell. There were rumors that he was placed in an actual freezer, which is not correct, but it's basically a concrete box with drainage holes in the floor so it could be hosed down. Um, no sink, no toilet, no running water, not even a raised bed. He was having to sleep on the bare cement floor, which was even colder due to the winter months. So the jailer admitted that he and others actively chose not to provide care to Mitchell, who was talking incoherently about demons and portals, because, quote, he gets what he gets since he shot at cops.
Mm-hmm.
So a jail captain, a supervisor, and 15 jailers were charged with a variety of crimes by the feds, ranging from deprivation of Mitchell's rights to conspiracy to obstruction of justice. 6 medical workers were charged with failing to provide Mitchell with adequate food, water, clothing, shelter, sanitation, medical, and mental health care. So he was naked in this cell, dying of hypothermia. And numerous corrections officers and medical staff wandered over to his open cell door to spectate and be entertained by his condition, unquote. So yeah, quite a bad situation. I didn't prepare as many remarks about this as I had about the other stories, but it's worth pointing out there was that this happened to this man. There's a lawsuit being that was filed by his family members in order to try to get some kind of justice for him. So we'll follow how that goes. But that's just this sort of thing is par for the course in Alabama's jails and prisons.
Yeah, and it says here the feds came to town to investigate and indicted 25 people, including a jail captain, over a dozen correctional officers, a couple of deputies, and a handful of jail nurses for the situation.
Right.
Yeah, this is the picture I remember of him. I remember talking about him before now. You know,
So yeah, and it's worth pointing out too that like every other prison and jail in Alabama, it's dramatically overcrowded. There's a capacity of 280 at the Walker County Jail, and there are 410 people in there at the time that the sheriff came in the office in 2019. So I'm sure there's more than that now, 6 years later.
yeah. Says The reason Trump wants to bring back insane asylums is because they were horror chambers where inmates had no rights at all. Yeah.
Right.
And yeah, how is anyone supposed to get better in prison? The way it's designed, they're not really. Um, there are some miracles that occur, and some people were able to get educated and stuff like that, but these things are fundamentally not designed for people. Uh, uh,
Oh,
animals get better treatment in a lot of places.
well, the attitude is that any problem can be solved by the right amount of punishment. And if there's a problem, you just need to punish people until there's no more problem. And so there's this idea that you can punish people out of a mental health problem, which is just not true.
No, no. If you want people to get better, you give them love and empathy and time
Medical
and
and medical treatment.
opportunity. Yeah, and you don't put them in a fucking cage called the freezer, nicknamed the freezer. You know, it's
So AL.com put out a pretty long article about the problems that foreshadowed Tony Mitchell's death and the problems that the Walker County Sheriff has had. So it's worth reading.
yeah.
This
Here's a quote. While Tony languished naked and dying of hypothermia, says a lawsuit filed by Mitchell's family, numerous correction officers and medical staff wandered over to his open cell to spectate and be entertained by his condition. When filing the lawsuit 2 years ago, John Goldfarb, an attorney for Mitchell's estate, called his death the worst case of inmate abuse I've ever seen. People who have seen these videos think they are watching something in Russia or Abu Ghraib, he said, but this happened in our own backyard in Walker County. You know,
Yeah.
and yeah, this is in another of the indictments. Prosecutor said Mitchell was lying handcuffed on the ground when a Walker County deputy stomped on the inmate's genitals with a shod foot. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, this is that scene. Um, yeah, we've talked about him before. Because I specifically remember that situation. Of the 25 indicted, 5 have already pled guilty but not have been sentenced. 8 have agreed to plead guilty but not have officially done so. 12 have pled not guilty. Uh, yeah. So.
Yeah. It's a lot of bad news out of Alabama this week, which is why we started with the good news of the No Kings protests, and maybe we should have ended on that note, so we could have ended on a positive note. But there's a lot of bad news and a lot of work to be done in Alabama. There is a lot of attention on the prison situation because of this documentary, and I hope that continues and increases even, so that maybe we'll finally do something about our barbaric prison system.
Yeah. So this is a good article. It really goes in depth. Shout out AL.com. They've done a lot of good work on highlighting what's going on in the quote unquote justice system uh, in Alabama. Yeah, controlling the temperature of cells is the easiest form of torture. Um, so whew. Where do we got anything else here? I guess we can end over here. ABC board revises proposed hemp rules, lessening burden on retailers. Board approved new rules of consumable THC in hemp products, revising initial proposals to ease burdens on retailers after public comment. late last week, ABC approved several rules related to House Bill 445, new Alabama law restricting the sale and use of consumable THC and hemp products. New rules were originally proposed by ABC in August before being subject to public comment. This is where having your voice out there matters. While some of the rules will now be implemented in their original form, others were revised to be less burdensome for retailers. Um, the board officially sought to outlaw the sale of hemp infused beverages in pop up or whole tab cans and required them to be in child resistant cans or bottles. Requirement was removed. Um, Board also walked back a proposal to require retailers to store hemp beverages in locked cases. Retail advocates have pressured the board to eliminate the requirement, arguing to be difficult for small retailers. Yeah, another form of punishment is placing an inmate against hostile enemies. Yeah,
Oh yeah.
getting mixing, seeing that folks got problems and making sure those problems become bigger problems. Just putting two scorpions in there to fight, you know, and betting on it. I can imagine they take bets on that stuff. Uh, Meanwhile, other rules like a requirement that hemp beverages be stored behind glass, away from children with clear signage, will reportedly be put in effect. Um, so, uh, so yeah, a small change for retailers doesn't really fundamentally change anything,
Right.
but it does. Uh, it does. I can see how being a small retailer and like you got a case that's got to be unlocked, and typically it's one person there, and having to handle the line and keep an eye out on the gas pump, and then like having to go over to some case all the time or whatever. Yeah, there's. I mean, they could have made it real simple and just you know you got to have a case behind but hell, like when what a 12-year-old walks up with something they ain't supposed to buy, like the retailer can't figure that out. You know what I mean? It's just
Absolutely.
it's nonsensical.
But still, it was a loosening of the rules, and I thought, well, it's progress in the right direction. But
Yeah,
socialists should absolutely own the legal weed issues. Like we should just go out and say that legal weed is socialism. Like,
yeah.
yes, that's what socialism is, and let people associate it with like this insanely popular policy that is popular
Well, that
nationwide, and like 76% of Americans think that weed should be legal, let alone hemp products.
yeah, yeah. I think that's true in Alabama too, and that's actually one of the policies that like there's people out been out in the field gathering signatures and stuff. They say that time and again, across what you would expect from independents, whoever, Republicans, whatever, time and again they're like that's almost like the number one issue is like the legalization of marijuana. So like that is definitely one of the things that our candidates are probably going to be looking at pushing forward. Yeah. No one should be in prison for drugs. Yeah. But it's a moral failing. It's not that not the all that other shit. It's just you deserve punishment for but you know unless you're some you know uh rich person, they don't have to deal with this because they end up in court and they're like, oh, I'll go to this $30,000 a month facility to stay at and get clean, or they get a good lawyer and don't even have to do. You know what I mean? Like once again, this is a problem for the working class, uh, not for rich folks.
Right.
We're ooh, we're coming up on it. Opiates are the opiate of the masses. Me. Yeah. That's
Yep.
perfect. Exactly. Um, we didn't get to
But
do socialist history. This is a conspiracy. What were you gonna say, Jay?
how was it? I was going to ask. This is a conspiracy of the week.
This is a conspiracy of the week. There's an alien invasion happening in November. Get ready for it. Maybe it'll bring universal health care.
I'm ready
This is a
for it.
pretty good, yeah,
I
this is a
welcome
pretty
my
good
alien
article.
overlords. Like we can't do any.
Um,
The aliens can't be worse than Trump.
no shit. Um, uh, this article goes into it pretty good. Actually, but conspiracy theorists and amateur astronomers are claiming the world is on the brink of the biggest event ever known. With November 2025 just 64 days away, talk of an upcoming alien attack is now rampant on various social media networks, news channels, and among scientists everywhere. Countdown has begun. 53 days until the alien invasion. Um, so they're, stuff on telescopes uh, and transmissions that never been heard of before, indicating they're made by a clever mind, not just space static. And experts observing these odd movements have noticed changes in speed and direction that regularly space junk can't manage without some kind of propulsion. Uh,
So yeah, leaders across the globe are reticent. It says, even with growing public concern and direct queries from the press, the military branches in major countries won't provide a clear answer about the alien attack rumors. The deliberate. What is the International Business Times? Is that like a real publication? What is this? Google this real quick or DuckDuckGo it.
so yeah, it looks like a UK joint. It's a little, I ain't never heard of it before, but they dismiss it, they do. Uh but there's that's the main thing that's going out there as far as current conspiracy theories.
So, interstellar
And
object 31 Atlas may be their ship, and we have no defense. This Harvard, no, I don't even know what website I'm looking at now. This Harvard astrophysicist is almost 100% sure. So, mysterious object 31 Atlas has entered our solar system, and it's the third confirmed interstellar visitor in recorded history. But is it just a comet, or is it alien technology? There you go. So I guess that's the conspiracy theory. There was that other one. What was it called? Oh, no, I can't remember what it was called. I'll remember it in a minute. Um,
would you agree that it's time to start cracking each other's heads open and feast on the goo inside? Yes, I would, Kent. I do remember that one
oh yeah.
from The Simpsons.
Well, I for one welcome my alien overlords.
Yeah, and I'm just
These
so
actions
yeah.
help.
What now?
Oh, I was just reading the article.
Um, but yeah, looking back, old warnings, Y2K, Maya's ending days. Hey, just the other day, the rapture. Um, so yeah,
Yeah, it was the third rapture prediction, and you're a mocker and scoffer if you disagree.
yeah. But, I'm gonna just we ain't gonna go into my in-depth wiki articles, but I'm gonna read you real quick what Uh, I got these. I don't know. One apparently I've been reading forward in time. Um. Uh. The So we got today's the 19th. We finished with the last week with the embargo. So we're going from the 20th to the 26th. That on the 20th, the British colonial government begins brutal suppression of the Mau Mau uprising in Kenya, which was part of a series of uprisings started in the 1800s. Um, there were other different variations of it before then. On the 21st, the March on the Pentagon to end the war in Vietnam in 1967. On the 22nd, John Reed, American socialist journalist, was born in 1887. Um, Ended up having to flee from the Sedition Act. And on the 23rd, there's the Hungarian Revolution in 1956 begins. Worker councils and militias demanded democratic socialism against the USSR. I think isn't that where tankies come from?
Yeah, because Stalin responded by rolling tanks into Budapest.
Yeah,
Uh, and so that is where the origin of the term tanky. If you're a
there we
tanky, you
go.
can support Stalin against the revolutionary workers in Hungary.
On the 24th, 90% of the Icelandic women strike against gender-based discrimination in 1975, and they actually had a strike a couple years ago. And each on the anniversary, they all do about half days work and quit about 2 o'clock, and like then is like 2:06 and 2:07, and have incremented it a little bit every year to as a representation of progress. Uh, yeah, Hungarians and Czechs, Romanians, Poles. Yeah. On the 25th, the Marxists in New York organized the first communist club in the Western Hemisphere. Guess what year that was?
1848.
Oh, close. 1857.
Okay.
And it lasted about 10 years, but they called for a rainbow coalition and equality and all those things. And then this is a good one. The Freedom Budget for All Americans, released in 1966. MLK helped with this actually, and um, so I encourage everybody to look at that stuff in your leisure this week, and read more in depth about it. Really thought the um, first communist club being in 1857, and the first one in the Western Hemisphere was very interesting, and the Freedom Budget for All. Um, uh, Also, uh, what its principles were about and stuff. Things we're still fighting for. But yeah, Jay, you got anything else?
That's it for me. We went through all the articles I found.
All right. Well, you know, uh, get in the description box. Robert Hunter's campaigns down there. Be on the lookout for other campaigns of working class people. Be on the lookout for working class policies coming up. Join DSA. Or join another org in your area. Organize student tenants and workers. Listen to uh, that Chicago mayor, Mr. Johnson, um, and get ready for a general strike. Um, MLK said he regretted his comment on color blindness because it was being abused by racists. Yeah, yeah, I don't see color. Okay, um, that's a cop out. And it's actually, uh, I guess, what's being used by the folks in Louisiana to try to get rid of that Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act. Um, uh, so, yeah, organize, organize, organize. Thank y'all so much for spending your precious time with us. I hope you learned something. I hope you had maybe a laugh. Uh, and yeah, I appreciate y'all very, very much.
Absolutely. Yeah, we're so grateful for each and every one of you.
So yeah, so like, comment, share, subscribe, do all those things. Help us out, help us grow, help us grow power for the working class through communication and education and solidarity. So much love, y'all. And Jay, you got anything else?
That's it for me.
All right. Thank you so much. You don't like my music. Thanks, guys. Keep the faith. Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever with you. And as we like to say around here, all the power to all the people. We, the people, break our chains together. Solidarity forever, y'all.
Solidarity forever.